Rockstar Games has been extremely quiet about Grand Theft Auto 6, not giving us any updates since November 6, 2025, when they announced that the game is set to come out on November 19th, 2026. However, Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick gave us a hint the other day that it looks like the game is on track and that things will be coming out this fall. So like I mentioned, Rockstar Games has been radio silent since that announcement, and even over the last couple of weeks, it hasn't been anything extraordinary. There's been the typical GTA Online event weeks, a little bit of Red Dead Online stuff, some Circo Loco record stuff as well. Nothing about Grand Theft Auto 6. However, Strauss Zelnick was actually a part of some sort of conference that was taking place the other day. It was called the Semaphore World Economy 2026, talking about leadership in an uncertain world. The entire stream is like 3 hours and 12 minutes, but at around 40 minutes, Strauss Zelnick actually kind of talks about how Take-Two Interactive is set to have a bigger fiscal year this year than they did last year, which essentially means they're going to be making more money. And that's because Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out this fiscal year. Take a listen to what he has to say right here.
So at a certain point, you have to say, okay, like we have done that. The good news is that Take-Two is not even close to that. So when we took over the company in 2007, it had $700 million in revenue, about a $700 million market cap. This current fiscal year, well, the year we just finished, I think our guidance was about $6.7 billion. We've told the market we're going to do much better in the current fiscal year, so you can figure out what that number looks like. So it's about a 10x, and our market cap is just knocking on the door of about $40 billion. But that makes us, 10% of the size of the biggest pure play entertainment company on earth, Netflix. So we still think we have a lot of opportunity.
So again, it's nothing massive, but this was the most recent sort of comment we've heard from Strauss Zelnick, and he's basically doubling down and saying, hey, my company is going to make a ton more money this year, and that's really due to the fact that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be coming out in just a few short months. So again, I know that's not a major announcement, and he doesn't like specifically say, hey, GTA 6 is coming out this November, that's why we're going to be making a crap ton more money, but he does kind of hint that things are still on track and that things are still looking good. And honestly, it's been a good week for Take-Two Interactive. Obviously, earlier in the week, we had the Rockstar Games leak or the data breach hack that came out, but really, all that revealed is that they made a ton of money from Grand Theft Auto Online, from microtransactions, from Red Dead Online when it was first sort of starting up. And Take-Two Interactive's stock price has skyrocketed over the last couple of days. I mean, just over the last 5 days alone, it's up like 17, 18 points, which is nuts. Stocks almost never do that. So that hack from Shiny Hunters really kind of backfired. All it did was promote Rockstar's success, and in turn, that just made Take-Two Interactive a wealthier company as well, which is nuts. Now, speaking of Grand Theft Auto 6 and its release date, there's a couple of games out there that have differing opinions on whether or not they should release their title close to that game's launch. And one of those individuals speaking out is Dead Space creator and Callisto Protocol director Glenn Schofield, who shared some thoughts on games that are planning to launch their titles around when Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out. He said, "You don't want to be near it. Yes, it's going to bring people back to gaming, and I think that's great for the industry, but not many other games are going to be sold. It's the same when Call of Duty comes out. Everyone gives it a couple of weeks. You can't just ship that many games at the same time." And he's really not wrong about that. Yes, Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be the biggest example of why you should not put other games out around it. But in 2016, Titanfall 2's launch was sandwiched between the release of Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and it could not compete with the massive player count of the two long-running FPS franchises. So this is kind of a trend you're seeing in the industry of games sort of shifting their release date away from Grand Theft Auto 6. I mean, even a couple of days ago, Strauss Zelnick basically said he can't imagine any adult choosing not to play Grand Theft Auto 6. And there's only so much time in the day, so you can imagine that other games don't want to be around that because they simply, even if they like that title, won't be able to play it. Now, another game that is kind of talking about Grand Theft Auto 6's release date is Fable, which is set to come out this fall as well. In fact, Fable actually just announced that we'll be returning to Albion in autumn 2026 on their social media. But this post comes after journalist Jeff Grubb said on Giant Bomb's Games Mess Mornings He said, "I've heard that Fable has been pushed internally. That doesn't mean it's coming out next year. Apparently, they're still trying to get it out this year, but they're worried about the launch of Grand Theft Auto 6. And if so, it's getting delayed beyond the release of Grand Theft Auto 6 that could push into December, which might make it a prime candidate to get delayed into 2027. So again, it'll be very interesting to see what happens as Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, what games will try to ultimately challenge that mega title, or will other games just sort of stay away all the way around? Will they try to come out earlier in the summer? Will they try to come out much later in December, closer to the holiday season? But again, that's still not far after when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out. Oh, and there's also going to be a multiplayer version of Grand Theft Auto 6 as well, whatever Rockstar is going to call it, GTA Online 2.0, Vice City Online. That's going to come out probably like 30 to 45 to 60 days after the story mode, which is going to be another huge launch. So it's not like games can get out of the way completely once that November 19th date passes, because there's going to be another big multiplayer launch. Again, probably just a few weeks to a month after that. So now really the wait is on to just hear from Rockstar Games. Again, Take-Two Interactive and their CEO Strauss Zelnick said a couple of weeks ago that they were going to be beginning their summer launch marketing in the summer, which again, if you take him literally, is sort of going to be at the end of June when summer officially begins. I've said it'll probably be more likely closer to Take-Two Interactive's next earnings call, which is going to happen sometime in like the first or the second week of May. So I suspect it'll probably be sometime around then. These are the dates for the May Take-Two Interactive earnings call from 2013 to 2025. So for the last 13 years, you can roughly see when they choose to do it. It kind of seems to fall in between like the second and third week of the month. Sometimes it's been a little bit later, sometimes it's been a little bit earlier, but that should give you a pretty good idea of when we'll hear from Take-Two Interactive next, which will also give us a pretty good idea of possibly when we'll get to hear from Rockstar Games next. But in the same breath, it's also really difficult to predict, because for the last two in a row, they've chosen the third Thursday of May, but before that, there were Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. It has become so hard to predict what Rockstar Games is going to do, especially over the last couple of years, as they've just really strayed from the norm of like their typical announcement cycles. So we'll have to wait and see, but again, I think this does give us truly our best bet of when we'll hear from them next. But let me know what you think in those comments down below, not only about what Strauss Zelnick had to say, but also about other games trying to either get away or not backing down from Grand Theft Auto 6's release date. Again, I'd love to hear from you guys in those comments down below, so let me know what you're thinking.